First of all, I recognized that he had good blood in his veins and that he had possibilities, and I believed that I could bring them out. And she did bring them out. Mrs. Henry Ford and Mrs. Thomas A. Edison are two of the outstanding examples that I use time and time again to show what a woman can do to make her husband successful. Had it not been for Mrs. Ford's understanding of the mastermind principle, although she didn't call it by that name, Mr. Ford would never have been known, the Ford automobile never would have been here, and I doubt if the automobile industry would have been ushered in as it has been. It was Mrs. Ford, more than it was Mr. Ford, that kept him going, kept him alert, kept him filled with confidence in himself when the going was hard, and when other people were criticizing him in connection with his contraption, as they called it, that was only designed to scare horses. Just as I was criticized for fooling away my time with the richest man in the world working for nothing. Mrs. Ford sustained him through those trying hours when the going was hard, and all of you will experience that period in your life. The going is hard at some place with everybody. Now, a lot of times a woman will marry a man because she sees that he has possibilities. She can do something with him, make something out of him. Sometimes it's monetary consideration. Sometimes it's love. Sometimes it's one thing and sometimes another. But every time anybody engages in any transaction, there is a motive back of it. You may be sure of that. And whatever it is that you want anybody to do, pick out the right kind of a motive and plant it in the mind under the proper circumstances, and you'll become a master salesman. Next, establish a definite plan through which each member of the alliance will make his contribution in working toward the achievement of the object of the alliance, and arrange a definite time and place for the mutual discussion of the plan. Indefiniteness here will bring defeat. Keep a regular means of contact between all members of your alliance. Did you ever hear of a great friendship existing? Well, let me rephrase that. Have you ever had a great friendship with somebody and then suddenly saw it grow cold and then finally die? How many have had that experience? Of course, most of us have, to be sure. And what do you think was the reason for it? Neglect. That's all, neglect. If you have very close and very dear friends, the only way you can keep them is to keep in contact, constant. It's nothing but an occasional postal card. I have one student who was a member of my class in 1928 in New York City, and she never has missed a single one of my birthdays to send me a card. One time she was off on her vacation, and she forgot it until mid-afternoon of my birthday, and she sent me a telegram congratulating me on my birthday. In other words, she has been the most constant student that I've ever had out of the many thousands all over the country. Well, as a result of that close attention that she's given me, there have been times when I've been able to help her in a business way, too. Last time I got her promotion, it was amounted to about $4,000 a year, which is quite a little bit of payoff for the business of keeping in contact. Quite a nice bit of payoff. But you have to keep in contact with your mastermind allies. You have to have regular meeting places. You have to keep them active. If you don't, they grow cold or grow indifferent, and finally they're of no value to you.
The third principle of your right to be rich is applied faith, which together with definiteness of purpose and the master mind are the big three of the 17 principles. A few brief words of introduction. This principle is not steeped in any particular religious doctrine or denomination. As faith is defined here, it means an active state of mind in which there is a relating of the mind to the great eternal force of the universe. Faith is human beings sensing the powers that surround them in the world and trying to harmonize their lives with those powers as they feel them. In the final analysis, faith is the activity of individual minds discovering themselves and establishing a working association with the power variously referred to as the universal mind, the divine mind, or God. You will hear Dr. Hill refer to this power as infinite intelligence, the source of all life energy, the cosmic force of the universe we inhabit. The word applied indicates action. This is an active, not a passive principle. The faith referred to is applied to the achievement of a definite major purpose in life. and indeed, achievement will be the result. Dr. Hill.
If you had a definite major purpose, knew exactly what you wanted to do, had a mastermind alliance of people that could help you do it, and then had sufficient faith to keep you going while you did it, don't you see that would be about all you would need? Why then do we need 14 additional principles, do you suppose? Well, I'll tell you why. We need 14 additional principles to induce you to make use of these three. You need personal initiative, you need imagination, you need enthusiasm. In other words, this philosophy is something like baking a cake. When you go to bake a cake, you don't put in just one ingredient. You put in a pinch of this and a pinch of that and a dash of the other thing, and then you put it in the stove and bake it. And if you took out any one of those ingredients, you wouldn't have the same kind of a cake. And it's the same way with this philosophy. You can't leave out any one of these 17 principles. It'd be just like taking a link out of a chain. You wouldn't have a chain anymore. You'd have two parts of a chain, but not a whole chain. And these other 14 principles are supporting principles of these three. Faith is a state of mind that has been called the mainspring of the soul, through which one's aims, desires, plans, and purposes may be translated into their physical or financial equivalent. And here are the fundamentals of faith. Now, when you speak of applied faith, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about something vastly different from just mere belief. Applied, the word applied means what? Action. That's the action part of faith. And without action, faith is nothing but just daydreaming. And there are a lot of people, who believe in things, but they don't do anything about them. They are engaging only in daydreaming. Applied faith is an active faith. Now, the fundamentals of faith are, first of all, definiteness of purpose, supported by personal initiative and action. Action. The more action, the better. It means continuous action. Not only on your part, but on the part of those that may be cooperating with you or may be mastermind allies of yours. And next, a positive mind, free from all negatives such as fear, envy, hatred, jealousy, and greed, is essential. Mental attitude determines the effectiveness of faith. Mental attitude. Did you know that that is a fact? The frame of mind that you're in when you go to pray determines what happens as a result of that prayer. There's no two ways about that. You can test it for your own selves and find out. I have no doubt you have.